Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
Appears to be, is this your back?
That's my
and
back.
The spots?
That's
all right, let's
mine.
take a look at...
Passed on from me to my
I mean,
husband and
those
daughter.
bed bugs got you pretty good, my goodness. Wow. Wow.
The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Evelyn Lindsay is suing Stanley Williams in the amount of $2,845.98. Ms. Lindsay claims Mr. Williams purposely booked her into a hotel that had bed bugs. Mr. Williams claims his company would never knowingly book a hotel that had bed bugs.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Ms. Lindsay, let's talk about this case. $2,845.98. And this amount reflects all the injuries you sustained as a result of some bed bugs.
That's correct. You're right.
I've had the experience of being in a hotel and having the exact same thing. And it's horrible. In terms of, because in all your clothes, you have to make sure it's separate, and if you bring it home. You were actually on business for Mr. Williams.
That's right.
You all had a pretty good relationship for a while, yes?
Very long time.
How long were you actually working for Mr. Williams?
For 7 years.
For 7 years.
But also, I never once in all those 7 years until now heard any complaint from Mrs. Lindsay either.
And
Were you complaining during the 7-year period?
No, I was.
You enjoyed the job.
I enjoyed the job. I take my job seriously.
Okay.
And actually, sometimes the quiet ones who are not necessarily complaining are the
worst
ones who are. Well, they
Yeah.
can be the worst ones, but no, they're doing their job and hoping to be noticed for the work that we're doing.
We're here because as a result of the last travel excursion, you guys had a parting of the ways.
That's right.
All right.
So I was asked to travel for 5 days in Wisconsin. The hotel situation, it has always been tenable.
Define that for me.
Mr. Williams likes to save money, and sometimes he likes to save money on things like accommodation and food.
For himself as well?
No.
You all stay there, and I'm going to stay up in
Your Honor,
here.
I do actually have the same budget for hotels as she does.
Okay.
So, and I do
We don't have
stay
the same
within that
travel
remit.
budget.
Part of the perks of being the owner of the company.
So there's a risk sometimes in some of these places you might stick to the walls or the floors if you stood still too long. But
Some of these places were a little sketchy.
they were dodgy. I'd say they were quite sketchy.
And when did you discover there was an issue? You had some sort of infestation? Or
Yeah,
what?
when I got home.
Oh, you didn't notice it until you had
I
gone.
was tossing and turning in the rooms. I felt very, very uncomfortable.
It never
but
occurred to you that, okay, this may be a bed bug
I
situation?
didn't actually think about it too much until I got home. Bed bugs, I guess, can take days to show up.
Yeah.
And so it was my husband who saw them on my back. Pretty much within days of coming home. I have some evidence of
Please,
that.
I'd like to see that, yes.
I'll take all the receipts and everything.
And really,
And
the
this one's
issue
mine,
of the
that's
$2,845
Yeah, the
reflects what?
complex costs and the costs associated with exterminating. It doesn't actually reflect the damages, the full financial damages or the full emotional damages that we sustained as a family.
How so?
Well, bed bugs, as you know, having had them, require a lot of pre-work before the exterminator can come. You've got to steam carpets, get rid of things.
Well, here's what in the situation that I found myself in. I was staying in a hotel. I felt the bed bugs. I saw them on me. But then I ended up putting my belongings in my car, and my wife was like, do not bring anything in that car home. It was a mess.
That's right. And so
but you were already
later,
home.
I got home.
And you didn't know that they
No.
started going all over the house.
So, and I have a period house. We have woodwork everywhere, and so the bed bugs hadn't gotten into the wood. We had to steam the carpets. We had to remove the mattresses. We had to clear closets. I took time off of work unpaid. My husband also had to take time off of work.
This email saying, you have this highlighted, I just had Jackie book my room. I got a coupon for another hotel you can use.
Yeah.
Want me to have her book it? What's that about?
That's
Why
just
did you...
an example of how he liked to save money and
Oh, he would get
suggest that we
coupons
would
and say,
save
"This is
money.
where you're gonna
Yes,
stay."
that sounds-
Your
just
Honour, there's
to-
a lot of talk about penury here. I'm running a business and, you know, absolutely.
Well,
I
listen, if you all had
use
a
coupons
relationship over
myself.
7 years and it worked for her, and did you feel like you were compensated for your work efforts?
My work, yeah, I felt compensated. I think I felt compromised in the end. I think there comes a point where you're working more above and beyond the call of duty, 7 days,
You're
here
giving,
and there.
giving,
You're
giving.
giving, and then in the one time you sit down and say, you know,
Hey.
my family's under duress here. What we're asking for isn't even compensation for the whole of our damages, but how about the exterminator, please? And help us out.
And the page that I'm looking at here with what appears to be, is this your back?
that's my
and
back.
the spots? All
That's
right, let's
mine.
take a look at...
Passed on from me to my
I mean,
husband and
those
daughter.
bed bugs got you pretty good. My goodness. Wow. Wow. That's serious.
Coming up on America's Court.
When did you make that request?
I made that request formally. Informally, before I exited, then I decided to quit, and then made the formal request after I quit.
Yeah, you said everything but what I asked you.
And later,
I'm looking at you, and you're all smiley, and Mom's like,
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Evelyn Lindsay, who is suing Stanley Williams for exterminator costs.
have you seen these photos?
I have,
sir?
Your Honour. And, you know, there's a lot of talk, Your Honour. I have all the way through been very good. We're in the 21st century. I have a very good human resources department. They have good bonuses, good money. I've been very empathetic to what Mrs. Lindsay and her family has been through. But
then why are we here?
Because, well, it very much, Your Honour, it's a matter of principle. You yourself said you found it in a hotel room, you locked it down, you could take it to that particular place. This has happened weeks after she has returned from a trip.
What happened weeks after?
This has all come to light. It wasn't happening in the hotel room, it's happened in her house. So we're talking a bug infestation.
Let me make sure we're all on the same page. You get home, it didn't immediately happen?
When I got home, it had immediately happened.
Where does he
It can
get
take
the whole
14
issue
days.
of weeks then?
Because in his opinion, I didn't make this claim to him right away.
When did you let him know that this had become the problem that it had become?
So
How
he
much
knew
time
within a
went
week.
by? A week went by.
For him to know we were under duress as a
And
family.
it was
All
a
right.
family drama. It wasn't even clear then, and that was a week after.
Okay. When
Weeks
did it
further
become
down.
clear to you that her position was, while I was working, I had the situation happen, your company's responsible, I want you to do right by me? When did that conversation take place?
Weeks after. She'd already handed in a notice at that time, weeks after.
Now, wait, we're getting ahead. By the time you made the request, had you already quit?
I did quit first,
All
yeah.
right. Why would you quit before he can even say yay or nay to the request?
Because of the treatment of my circumstances.
You've been with the company, you like your job, everyone's making money. He must have did, not said something
Yeah.
that left you feeling, I'm out of here.
When I came in to talk about the scenario, he mocked it, he ignored it, he
I
moved
did
it
not.
on.
That's the
I
issue.
did not
You
mock
didn't
it,
feel
Your
as
Honor.
though he was sensitive
Not
to
at
your
all.
issues.
Oh, he wasn't sensitive.
He was
to it.
not, in your opinion, he was not sensitive. You may not see it that way, but then all the other little things
Yeah.
that had been building up, and this was the last straw.
Your Honor,
We
I'm
were,
gonna let
I was,
that
I
go.
already
Your
felt
Honor,
over-compromised.
she's feeding you decent accommodations. Our human resources have picked
Now
a
we're not
price
talking
point.
about the accommodations. What we're talking about
They
is
were decent
someone
accommodations.
who's saying to you, I'm busting my tail, I'm doing everything I can, my family is being impacted,
I acknowledge
and I'm
that.
going to be, sir,
Every year, sir.
the very thing that I'm telling you that she was feeling, even as I'm telling you, you don't want to hear it. And so what you're doing right now is why she said, I'm out. That's what she's trying to tell you. You didn't want to quit.
It was a value call. I felt like it was time to
And had he treated you differently, would you have stayed?
Yeah, all he had to do was acknowledge that there was an issue going on and actually do something.
Are you happy with where you are now?
Where I am now is unemployed while this is going on.
Would you like to have her back?
I've expressed, Your Honor, I'd love to have her back.
Okay.
Yes.
How bad do you want her?
I do, Your Honor. I've heard one side of the.
I got a proposition for you.
I've heard one side of the story.
I don't need to hear anything else. I got a proposition for you. If you really want her back, why don't you pay her $3,000?
Within the work of her doing the work and employment, I will pay those. If I am going to set up all the staff, Your Honor, are watching what goes on here. I'm going to set up a whole president of litigious staff culture for something that was not my responsibility
I'm not talking about any of the staff. I'm talking about the person that has been with you that you value. And I'm trying to give you a way out. I'm saying to her, get out of your own way, be humble, and I'm saying to you, make her feel appreciated, and you're like, I don't get it. What I was hoping you would say was, it's worth it for me to pay it and I'll figure it out. Because if I were you now, I wouldn't go back either. Judgment in the amount of $2,845.98. That is the order. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,845.98.
I'm not happy about the ruling. I think Judge Ross was bugged out by his own experiences.
I'd rather be woefully unemployed than undervalued. I think I'll get into bed with another company.
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
Because we've tried our best to help her improve her life and go the right way, to let her understand that what she's doing is it's improper.
What is she doing?
She is posing nude on the internet.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Claudia Dubois is suing Daphne Dubois in the amount of $1,275. Ms. Dubois claims she loaned the defendant a computer, but she refuses to return it. Ms. Dubois claims the plaintiff agreed to let her use the computer for as long as she needed it.
I'm always fascinated when parents are suing their kids, because I have a mom suing her daughter. All right, here we go. Ma'am, tell me your story.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm suing my daughter, Daphne, for the Mac computer I loaned her.
Yes.
I paid an outrageous price of $1,275 for it.
Did you buy the computer for your daughter?
No, Your Honor. I have a younger daughter, and I knew eventually needing to use it, but I wanted to use it myself so I can learn.
Your mom had bought it for herself?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you end up with it?
So my laptop broke over 1.5 years ago, and I knew that she had one, but she wasn't really using it. It was just kind of lying around the house, and I thought I would go to her and ask if I could
take it, because that's what loving children do.
Well,
They go, Mom, Dad, you don't really need that. I need it. Give it to me. It's mine now.
she did. She gave it to me. So
She gave it to you. All right.
yeah.
And?
It was a loan, Your Honor.
Okay.
She was.
What I'm finding is interesting is I'm looking at you and you're all smiley and Mom's like, I'm not happy.
I am not happy, Your Honor.
Why did you feel like this was your only recourse?
Because we've tried our best to help her improve her life and go the right way, to let her understand that what she's doing is it's improper.
What is she doing?
She is posing nude on the internet.
Coming up on America's Court.
If you don't want her in your business, then give her back the computer and do whatever it is you feel like you need to do.
I'm getting there. I am, but I do still need the laptop.
You have no idea how ridiculous you sound.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Claudia Dubois, who is suing Daphne Dubois for the cost of a computer.
She's said that I could use it for work, and that is what I do. And obviously,
Oh, come
it's not.
on.
Obviously,
Really?
I know that it's not the best job in the world, but I'm using it as a platform to. I can pay my rent. I can pay off my debt.
You can pay all the bills except the one from her.
Yes, buy your own computer.
If you're doing this and you just, you dropping dollars,
I'm still catching up, Your
well,
Honor.
then why don't you drop 1,275 little green ones over her way?
I'm still catching up on my debt, Your Honor, and
Well, no, you're picking and choosing which debt is a priority.
because I still need the laptop for work. Per our verbal agreement, she said I could
She
use it as long
doesn't
as I
want
needed to
a
work.
computer that she purchased for you to use it to parade around in your skivvies, if that. You said nude, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you don't want her in your business, then give her back the computer and do whatever it is you feel like you need to do.
I'm getting there, I am, but I do still need the laptop.
You have no idea how ridiculous you sound. And I'm not saying that to put you down, because I'm understanding that it's your youth.
I went to her for a favor. It was very hard for me to come to her. And she finally
Why?
was generous.
But if it was so hard for you to come to her, why not go to someone else that it was easy for you to
No
come
one
to?
could help me. I didn't
Stop.
know anyone else.
Whoop, there it is. Out of your own mouth. No one else would help me. But Mom.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
How did you find out this is what she was doing?
She confided in my daughter, Lisa. I guess it was bothering her, too, what she was doing.
Bothering Lisa?
Yes, so she
What
did
made
tell
you
me.
decide to tell your sister?
We have a very up and down relationship. I feel like she's the only one who really knows what I've been going through with this family. So I do confide
You're saying
in her.
this
in certain
family,
things.
but this is her mother that you're referring to, that you confided in. The
Yeah,
very people
but-
that you're sort of distancing yourself from is the very people who are embracing you.
I don't know. She was always very cold and obviously favored Lisa over me, and my dad kind of took her side in everything. And there's constant judgment. There's constant almost like I'm not good enough.
Why not just be done with her? Who needs all the stress and drama? Kick her to the curb.
I wish I could, but
You
if I
can't.
want to have a
You're grown.
relationship with my half sister, I'm going to
You can have
to
a
see
relationship
her.
with your sister. You just don't have no relationship with her. I'm going to help you with that. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel comes down in favor of the plaintiff. I'm going to help you cut her off. You don't have to have her in your life at all. Let's see how that works out. Mom, you'll get that $1,275. That is the order. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $1,275.
It's really tough being a parent these days, but I'm always going to be there for my daughter.
The judge advised me to cut her off, so that's what I'm going to do and just move on with my life.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.